Baseball is a game of extremes. Throughout its history, you'll find some of the most bizarre careers imaginable that'll make you question what you previously thought was impossible. For instance, what if I told you that there was one team so bad that I physically cringed while looking at its baseball reference page? The 1899 Cleveland Spiders were nothing short of abysmal, sporting an all-time low 20 wins in 154 games for an unfathomably terrible 13% win rate. Throughout the season, they gave up 723 more runs than they allowed. Their top win streak was 2, while their top loss streak was 24, although it would have been 41 if not for a marginal victory against the Washington Senators on September 18th. Their best player didn't even account for a single win above replacement, and they did not have one pitcher that sported an above average ERA. For a team that once had Cy Young, the player, not the award, this was a dismal season worthy of total team annihilation. The Spiders never played another season after that one, and 2 years later, the Cleveland Blues were officially established, known today as the Guardians. If you just got sick from seeing all those terrible stat lines, wipe the vomit off your screen, because I'd like to introduce you to a man named Barry Bonds. From 1990 to 1992, he won the MVP award 3 times, and that's not even the most notable part of his career. You see, from 2001 to 2004, he put up stats that are the definition of video game numbers. In 2001, he broke the home run record, hitting 73 and achieved the highest single season slugging percentage ever. The following year, he was even better, but his home runs were down, probably because the level of fear he struck into the pitchers' hearts was so deep, they chose to give him a free base in nearly 1/3 of his at-bats. 2003 was a bit of a down year for Bonds, as in he near unanimously won the MVP award. But 2004 is without a doubt the most absurd offensive season in the history of Major League Baseball. He got walked 232 times, over half of them being intentional. His on-base percentage was over 60% and his OPS was 1422. He broke the single season record for every category I just mentioned. A few years later, he broke the all-time home run record, and to the surprise of absolutely nobody, currently holds the all-time walk and intentional walk record by far. Whether you love or hate him, there's no denying one thing: he was a workhorse throughout his career. In his prime, he averaged 143 games per season, but even that is no comparison to the king of consistency, Cal Ripken Jr. From May 30th, 1982 to September 19th, 1998, he didn't miss a single game. For 2,632 games, no injury or illness could stop this man from playing. The only one who could was himself. On the day the streak ended, Ripken reportedly walked into his manager's office and simply said, "It's time." At another point in Ripken's career, he probably said "it's time," but for a completely different reason. You see, in 1981, 2 AAA affiliate teams, the Pawtucket Red Sox and the Rochester Red Wings, played a game that was ever so slightly longer than usual. Notably, this game featured Hall of Famers Cal Ripken Jr. and Wade Boggs. For the first 6 innings, there was no score, but in the 7th, Rochester took a 1-0 lead. Come the 9th, Pawtucket managed to tie up the game, but in the 10th, there was no score. Same with the 11th, and the 12th, and the 13th, and the 14th, and the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th innings. In the 21st, however, Rochester managed to pull ahead, but the bottom of the inning featured an RBI double by none other than Wade Boggs. His teammates were absolutely ecstatic. His teammates were absolutely pissed at him for tying the game. They wanted to go home, but little did they know they were just getting started. In other words, the next 10 innings featured no scoring. And after the 32nd inning, at 3:30 in the morning, they chose to postpone the game until Rochester was back in town to finish it. 2 months later, when baseball was on strike and the pros weren't playing, the opportunity opened for a legendary finish to a legendary game. In a packed venue with reporters from all around the world, Rochester didn't score in the top of the 33rd, and in the bottom, Dave Koza hit a ball just over Cal Ripken Jr.'s head to walk it off. The inning took 18 minutes, a mere drop in the bucket of the 8-hour 25-minute runtime for the entire game. Here is a list of records that this game broke, but I think the unsung hero of this match deserves a mention. Dennis Craig, the home plate umpire, called 882 pitches, the most in any game ever. Now that may have been the longest game, but what about the shortest player? In 1951, a man by the name of Eddie Goodell took the major leagues by storm. Standing at 3'7", this short king was an unstoppable force, and the secret weapon for an atrocious St. Louis Browns team. On August 19th, wearing the number 1/8, Eddie stepped up to the plate in the first inning, proceeded to draw a 4-pitch walk, got pinch ran for, and never played professional baseball again. On top of being an absolutely hilarious stunt, this left the big man with a career on base percentage that would make Ted Williams jealous. Now I think it goes without saying, but Eddie Gaedel wasn't exactly known for his home runs. However, there's no shortage of those happening in professional baseball. The real question is who hit the longest. It may seem like a straightforward question, but in reality, it's a rabbit hole that just keeps getting deeper the more you look into it. In the StatCast era, Nomar Mazara holds the longest home run, measuring 505 feet, but the steroid era featured guys like Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco hitting bombs that almost certainly traveled further than that. If you choose to believe historical records, Babe Ruth was said to have hit a ball 575 feet, but surprisingly, this isn't even the longest home run. To find the true longest blast, we have to turn our attention to Joey Mayer, who is playing for the Denver Zephyrs, a AAA affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers. On June 2nd, 1987, the 6'4", 290-pound man hit a ball that was measured at 582 feet, a near unbelievable feat. Although it was certainly assisted by ideal weather conditions coupled with the fact that they were playing in a mile-high stadium, this titanic blast is nothing short of incredible, and that's an undeniable fact. Here's another fact. If there's a base to steal, Rickey Henderson will steal that base. In 1982, he managed to swipe 130 bags, getting caught only 42 times. I say only as if that's a small number, but the reality is that his 1982 season broke single-season records in both categories. Unsurprisingly, Rickey holds career records for both stolen bases and getting caught stealing, and on top of that, he also possesses the all-time run record due to him constantly being in scoring position. Now, stolen bases are cool and all, but there's a much easier way to get put into scoring position: the balk. What is a balk, you might ask? I don't know, I'm not an umpire. But here's a list of 13 things that could possibly be considered a balk. On September 27, 2022, Richard Bleier was facing a big strong guy in the form of Pete Alonso, and on the first pitch of the at-bat, he was called for a balk by umpire John Tumpane. This gave Jeff McNeil the free pass to second, but he would soon be on his way to third, because 3 pitches later, Bleier was called for another balk. Was this actually a balk? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows what a balk is, but it was called 2 times in one at-bat, and that really pissed off the pitcher. Once he took a moment to cool down though, he stepped back on the mound, and 2 pitches later was called for a third balk to send in the runner that was standing on first at the beginning of the at-bat. The look on his face speaks volumes, and this time manager Don Mattingly wasn't just gonna sit back and tell his pitcher to calm down. He was gonna get up in John Tumpane's face, tell him the call was terrible, that he was full of shit, and that he wasn't gonna cut his mullet.
Mattingly! I thought I told you to trim those sideburns! Go home! You're off the team for good! Fine.
You really gotta respect the man for sticking up for his pitcher, even though the Marlins season was basically over. Not only has there never been another at-bat that featured 3 balks, Richard Bleier had never balked prior to that day. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, balk the buttons, I dare you.